Thanks for staying with us. Now, according to a report published by Roy Smith of CNN, new studies find that IQ scores have been steadily falling for the past few decades, and environmental factors are to blame. The causes of in IQ increases over time, and now the decline is due to environmental factors, said Ole Rogberg. That's a senior research fellow at the Regnar Ficht Center for Economic Research in Norway. He believes that the changes is not due to genetics. It's not the dumb people. It's not that dumb people are having more kids than smart people. To put it crudely, it's something to do with the environment, because we're seeing that the same differences within families. He said that these environmental factors could include changes in education system and media environment, nutrition, reading less, and being online more, as according to Rogberg. Now, Robin Morris, on the other hand, a professor of psychology at King's College, said, and I quote, "In my view, we need to recognize that as time changes and people are exposed to different intellectual experiences, such as changes in the use of technology, for example, social media, the way intelligence is expressed also changes. Now, educational methods need to also adapt to such changes." So we're asking, is there a decline in our IQs, and what role has social media played in this decline? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so yesterday was an interesting day. All of a sudden, first of all, if you have iPhone 100, your phone is completely useless without social media. Like, I literally had to just, it's almost like I want to just dump my phone somewhere. You might have the most sophisticated gadget. It just opened my eyes to see that, no matter all the eyes and all the, all the eyes that you buy, whether it's i100 or whatever 100, the phone is completely useless without social media. And it was so interesting that nobody remembered to go probably read a book or something. Everybody was helping, because I am someone that if we're having a conversation, the next thing I want to do is probably when you say something I do not understand, I'll go on Google, right? So it's another form of the internet. But, I just realized that I was solely dependent on social media, especially Instagram and WhatsApp are the most visited apps on my phone. So it kept me wondering, okay, we're in an age where we have digital natives, where children are growing up, and before they even turn one, the child knows how to navigate YouTube, the phone, and all of that. So how is this impacting on the IQ? Because for us, intelligence is somehow tied to the capacity of assimilating information, more from even the paperwork, writing, and all those things that links to your brain directly. So it just got me wondering how this social media engagement that we are all so addicted to, right? How it's affecting us as a people in terms of our reasoning skills, in terms of our cognitive skills. How is it impacting? Who wants to go first?
Well, if I want to step in, research has it that the average person spends about 3 hours on their phones and approximately 2.5 hours on social media. So while maybe the other 30 minutes is either to check a dictionary, to check a word, or to go to one other app or the other, 2.5 hours are spent on social media, just checking what other people are doing. And that does not mean that is necessarily constructive, right? So while it seems harmless, right, the same research has it that doing anything repeatedly for extended hours or amounts of time can cause psychological or physiological changes in the brain. And this begs the question, what is social media actually doing to our brains? It does a lot. When you I had to, at some point, put a timeline on myself on Instagram. So when I go in, I have a mission. I want to either post something or check something in particular. And then I have an alarm that says, Norma, you've been here for 10 minutes. I just extended it. Yes, I just extended it to 10. It was actually 5. And once I was done, I'm out. I had to put that on myself because I found out there was a day I wanted to do a lot of things. I said, well, let me check something on social media. And that was how I spent, I did not know when I spent 3 hours to be part of that statistics. I could not believe it, right? And I couldn't even measure what I had accomplished that period. I was busy looking, oh, who did this, who did that, oh, this one smiled this, oh, this. It didn't make sense. So you find out that heavy social media users now from tests are the worst when it comes to cognitive tests. They can't concentrate, they have very low attention span. They have less, they are less able to ignore distraction. So you know what we say, that how you do one thing is how you do everything. The more they spend time out, you find out that their brains have also been tuned for distraction. So they can't pay attention long enough to actually capture anything. How can they now understand cognitive tests? So let me stop there for now while I am, but it's a big problem because more and more people are not, the brain was designed to actually think. To process data, to be able
social media is not even helping you to think.
Social media does not help you to think. So you see, that's why we have more and more of copycats all over the world, because everybody's just doing, copy and paste. This has already
a challenge
been done,
happening. I just
right?
do it, jump at it.
So you just jump at it and you just move
Oti was
on.
having a conversation with us yesterday, because yesterday we talked about unemployment and underemployment in Nigeria, and she was explaining how it is so irritating that now you could literally be talking to a Gen Z, I mean, in her team, and she's talking to them, and you actually notice the person has zoned off because the person is there looking at you, but the person is completely gone. Because that attention span is very shortened. So I don't know. Let me come to you, Isi. What are your thoughts?
My thought is about the IQ and the environment. Now, I can also look at it from the aspect of us having in Nigeria different types of people that are doing one content or the other on social media. Now, when we look at what each individual who is a Gen Z decides to say, okay, this is my interest, this is what actually catches my attention, that is that Gen Z's social media environment. That's what actually captures that individual's attention. And looking at it from that context, that is how it actually, instead of it to grow, it slides. Okay?
Downwards.
It slides downwards. And as it's sliding downwards, aside from the attention span, what is the content of what they are assimilating?
As well. Right.
What are they taking in? What are they assimilating? And too much information veered towards the wrong direction will definitely affect an individual, whether the person is a Gen Z or not, even if it's a baby boomer. So it's not about whether the person is a Gen Z or not. It is the attention span of the environment you decide to belong to in the social media context. And look at it. We look at individuals and say, hey, people have different interests. How do you tell the difference between reality and social media? That is another thing. Some people, or most of those individuals who are Gen Zs, they believe that what they see on social media should be their reality. So your reality is also another thing you should also take into context. As I rest my case.
You know what? It's funny that you brought that up, because most times when you see the content that is being consumed more, you know, it will give you an idea of how the people are thinking. When you post something serious on Instagram, does it even make the headlines?
Nothing.
It doesn't even get, probably, if it gets one like maybe it's probably your family member.
Lola is always dancing. That's why she's selling markets.
And then when
I'm gonna take offense.
Please take offense.
See, let me tell you.
But let me come to you, Bilola.
My thought on, without a doubt, social media has affected our IQ level. Clearly. Put that out first, because a lot of us get triggered by social media. We produce dopamine, the happy, feel-good hormone. So our phones is nothing more than a dopamine-producing devices. It allows us to feel happy, and because dopamine wears out very quickly, we go back there again and activate the dopamine again. So we've become literally addicted to our devices because there's a lot of excitement that comes from watching social media. And people get derailed, they get distracted, they lose focus, and definitely that would affect the quality of your thought, and they would affect the quality of your IQ.
Absolutely.
We do not do anything anymore that is engaging or stimulating our mind beyond getting distracted. Every one of us is guilty. I am guilty of that. The only justification I give to myself is that, okay, I make business of that platform. But that's not an excuse. There was a time in my life I said, just like you, I will not touch my device until my kids have gone to school, until I have sat down and do my to-do list, or until I have done something significant. Give it Damilola 10 a.m. in the morning. Don't touch those phones. I broke those rules. And I'm not proud of myself, but you would understand that whether you like it or not, first of all, admit that you're struggling. There's no shame in struggling and admitting the fact that you're struggling, but we need to find. And I don't know if we can sit here and find a solution, but we should put it out there so that people become more aware of the fact that this thing, it has these advantages, but the disadvantages is quite significant. And we can't underplay it because of the fact that it makes us feel good.
You know, it's interesting. I don't know where I saw that research where they said that the creators of social media, they are not on social media. So they created it for you people, to use it. And because they know, I mean, it was one of the Facebook founders. Remember, he gave a speech and he was saying that because he knows the level of addictive nature, the addictive nature that it had. So that was why he stayed off, you know, the social media space. Because again, so is it that with social media, we are trying to make up for something that we think we're missing? Because I don't understand why that it has that much capacity
effect on us.
You know, because I mean, yesterday when WhatsApp came back online and Instagram came back online, you know, I was literally checking.
Jumping
from WhatsApp. No, I was jumping from WhatsApp to Instagram, WhatsApp to Instagram. So next thing, I just saw that the Instagram page started loading, and I now saw immediately. I say somebody I saw. I think Brief Essential, one of our friends, she posted that just checking. I said okay, the thing is okay, you know. So for me, I mean, it got me thinking that a lot of times, you know, we think things are not, I mean, things don't have effect on us until we know how far. I mean, now I'm beginning to sit down to think, okay, there used to be a time where I had patience to pick a book and read. Now I have bought God knows how many books. I have bought it. They will just give me the book.
The shelf.
All the books that they are giving me that I'm posting on Instagram, this nice book. I have not had the time to sit down to read it. Because it's almost like it is a problem. And there used to be a time where I would sit down every month, at least finish a book, you know. And then I know the impact it had on my everything, my thought process and all of that. But now it is almost like I'm just so much in a hurry and I cannot even sit down to read a book. And this one, I am the one complaining that I'm used to reading books before. So what about the children that we're raising?
I was just going to go there, that imagine
do you understand? The children that we're raising today, they cannot sit still in class. They don't have good attention span because they are focused on the, what's it called? Social media, the YouTube videos, YouTube Kids, YouTube videos, YouTube, that's all they watch. So how would it impact them in the future? Right? It means that nothing is sustained in their mind. They will just, you know, anything they want to do is because it's actually very alarming for me.
We need to help our kids.
This evening, I just made a mental note. I didn't even know, I hadn't really focused on the topic today, but I had made a mental decision today that I was going to log off on all of the devices at home for the kids. For me, I've already put that benchmark that except if it's work that I'm doing, don't touch that phone. So I had actually started this for myself. So it was okay for me yesterday when I found out that that was what was happening. I moved on. There were other things that I was doing, right? But I imagined the bigger picture of the number of people that, oh, my life is over because everything about their life is on social media. But I had made that mental decision, especially where the children are, because this generation, at least you even had the willpower to say, oh, I used
need
to
work
read
on
books.
this. Yeah.
The generation that we have
they are
now,
not programmed.
they don't have that willpower
Exactly.
to say that, oh, I need to do this.
You know,
Because they are raised in a generation where everything
But I
is
don't
on
think it's the
demand.
generation.
No.
I think no. So for this one, sorry, Ise, I'll come to you. I think this will be hinged solely on parents. You know why? Because I remember clearly when my children were growing up, when they used to do party packs in school. Me, I've always been a rebel. I don't do what people do. I don't follow people at all. So when people used to do party packs, they used to go and do whatever. I go to Latana Ventures. And I pick up, if they have 25 pupils in that class, I pick up 25 books. The first time I ever did it, and I went to pick up my son was in nursery 2. I remember clearly that day. Do you know that the entire class, all the children sat down, they were reading, you know this those small pocket books.
Yes.
I bought them. They were reading. Immediately I came into the class. That's why till tomorrow. Most of my children's classmates, they will always come and hug me as if I'm their mother. You know, they get, Ma, I love my book. I love my this. I love my that.
And they value that knowledge.
Do you understand? So before, the teacher said before, immediately they gave them, he presented the books to them as their gift.
Everybody started reading.
Everybody started reading. Everybody finished the story. So I want to say that in this aspect of we are talking about generation. Yes,
exactly.
We are raising children in this.
Them.
We are raising children in a generation of digital awareness and digital whatever. But it is still, the onus is still on the parent to ensure that
it has to be monitored.
You are monitoring and you are providing the right thing, tools. My son will sleep with a book every night on his bed. He must finish the book before he sleeps. The same thing with my sister's children that she's raising now. So it is the same thing. You do not, so you can't say because we're in the digital age where there's technology, there's YouTube and all of that, then you will now let go or lose the ball because it is on you as a parent. I'm sorry, I won't take that from anybody. You know what, Isi, I'll come to you. Let's just take a very short break. When we come back from the break, we'll also open our phone lines. Love to hear what you have to say. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're asking what impact has social media had on our IQs. Now, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is now open. Please, when you call us, turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear each other. Please call us on 07025007749. That's the number to call. All right, so Isi, you were going to say something before we went on the break.
Yes. Before I talk about the aspect of pupils and parents and social media, I want us to also look at it from the context that we have the Gen Zs who are between the ages of, between the ages of 9 and 24. And these are individuals that like to move around with their phones a lot. And I was driving out of my estate some days back, and I saw everybody holding their phones while they were walking. Not even absorbing or looking at the environment. They were walking along the road, and everybody was on their phone, flipping. I looked around. Only one man, who is probably a baby boomer, who is in his 50s or 60s, and he was walking without looking at any device. Now, what does that say about us as individuals? We are neglecting our environment, and we are all absorbed
into the matrix of social media.
Thank you. If that is our life today. Now, going down the aspect of pupils or children not being on social media or being on social media, there are different ways parents can actually engage their children on social media, not even going on social media. There are different devices that they can use. There is the Kindle. You talked about children having books. There is the Kindle. They can have books loaded on the Kindle for them to be able to read. And that is also taxing their brains, even if it has to be on a digital gadget. Then we also have books, online books that they can actually buy. What kind of books? There are different types of libraries we have online currently. There is a PlusTvAfrica.com that you can also go to get good books, and the children are engaged. All of these are things that parents need to understand, that they need to engage their children in. And what will this do for their children? It will build their mind, and they will get to understand that it's not only going on social media that is the dynamics of the internet, but you can also learn
access other information,
other things as well, and not just YouTube as well. Just sit down. There's that alone time you can also get. Not flipping through social media, not flipping through your phone. And you were talking about something earlier about a parent who was actually posting online the daughter crying over the fact that somebody in a reality show was evicted. That child had no business
even watching
whatsoever watching that
Big
program.
Brother, not joke of getting attached
Not even
to any
so much that you're expressing emotions.
On
very
all levels. So
uncomfortable.
what are our priorities as parents? What are we exposing our children to as parents? What message are we passing on to our children? So are we telling them that it's okay for them to watch a reality show where somebody moves around in a particular way? There are so many things we have to look at.
That show is just even something that is even ideal
they
for kids
shouldn't
to watch
have
at
any
all.
business watching.
Let me
it.
take
So
Ogechi
it still comes back to
from
what
Lokoja.
the parents are introducing the children
Thank you
to
for calling.
on social media.
Ogechi, are you there? Hello?
Okay, cheers.
So, when a show is clearly rated 18 plus, right? And you as a parent
Allows the
child to go and watch it.
exposes the child
Yeah.
to where
So
watching.
the question I asked when I even shared that video on our group, I was
Platform.
saying, can't parents also be arrested? Because I mean, this is child
It's abuse, yes. It's an
You
abuse.
would
of
allow a
the
child to
process information.
go and watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
It's very sad.
You know.
And you know, we have different. That I don't want anybody to come for me on this, but there are different types of things we see on social media. We have individuals who are promoting a certain type of lifestyle that is not acceptable to children, and there are certain types of lifestyles that we shouldn't even expose the children to, like cross-dressing and stuff like that. And they
Exactly.
make it
It's so
seem
natural.
okay.
Yeah.
Now the child grows up with that mindset and says, oh, after all, ABC did it and got away with it. Why can't I? And, you know, in the context of social media trendy, you want to, you know, in quotes,
Fit in,
blow.
belong. You
Let
want
me
to
take
blow.
Ogechi again. I think she's back. Are you there? Hello? Ogechi, you're live. Can you hear us? Hello?
Seems Ogechi's line is faulty.
Yeah. Norma, you're going to say something.
Yeah, you know, I still wanted to reiterate the fact that social media has actually greatly lowered IQ levels today, because when you focus on things that are not helping the brain to function in the capacity that it was designed to,
Absolutely.
take, in this case, social media, a lot of people's brains are shrunk.
Are porous.
Are so shrunk that it does not allow them to maintain a high level of attention. And some of these, like we were talking about cognitive
skills,
performance and test and all of that, those things sometimes require you to be logical, to think, to process. But because the brain has become used to not thinking, you can't expect that, you can't have that level of expectation for the brain because it can't offer it. Every organ is made to function in a certain way, and the brain was made to function to be able to take in information that is able to turn into something processed that they can now deliver back. Unfortunately, the more we say in the name of content, oh, I'm watching content, but really, if you check what people focus on social media, is not content that helps the brain to function. It's not constructive, right? At the end of the day, guess what? You're going to churn out less, I don't want to say less human beings. Let me borrow Minola's language. Less intellectual human beings. You can't even have a conversation that is meaningful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now with the okay, I don't want to.
Let me take.
I don't want to point fingers, but
I think Loma also from Umar here. Let's hear what you have to say. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good evening, my sisters in the house.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, this is Norman the Prophet. See, what social media has done to this generation, especially the younger one, it has done for this present generation more harm than good. Just like the program that has just finished. So you go to some families, you see children below the age of 6, 5, watching Big Brother and that.
I wonder.
I'm telling you, you start asking yourself, why must these children at this age what? And you don't hear them talking about their books. They don't read their books. They don't talk about white money. They talk about angels. They talk about these are the things you hear. So I think it behooves on parents to go back to the old values where they now try to teach their children which is good, and not allowing them every time. You see the other one, every time they start scrolling their phone, going into watching all these fun movies, everything. At the end of the day, they start misbehaving in the society. So I'm using this opportunity, now that you people are talking about it, please help and disseminate this information. Let parents go back to the core values of morality, so that at the end of the day, we will not bring children that will spoil this particular generation. Thank you very much.
It's not the children that will spoil the generation. The generation is already spoiled. But let me hear you, Milola. You've been quiet for a bit.
Yeah, it's very... Unfortunately, we all have to take personal responsibility for our well-being.
Absolutely.
And no matter what we share on the platform like this, is just to bring consciousness. To bring consciousness in that direction and allow people to think through it and see what they can do differently. We all are running our own race. Unfortunately, we still get affected by common interest. I believe that, just like that man said, a lot of kids have no business watching. I had to deliberately take my kids off tablets. I said, a mobile, small device, call me. Don't bother with anything. Whatever they're exposed to in school is enough. Whatever they watch on YouTube, on Netflix, it's enough. I didn't think that they were due for the exposure because they can't sift and sort through some of these things. And because it just pops on you sometimes, you just find yourself getting eroded and watching and following through. So I just choose to not let them even have a device for now. Before I can let my daughter have a device, maybe she'll be 10. And you realize that it'll be fine. We didn't have them. A lot of the things that we think we're raising kids, we're actually depriving them from having character building experiences. We overshield and overprovide for them. We are overly protective and doting excessively. We don't even allow them do chores anymore because they're so caught up with all the frenzy of social media and trying to be a Gen Z mom. We have really missed the mark. Clearly.
Let me take Ogechi. I think she's back again. She's desperately wanted to say something. Thank you for calling. You're live. Let's hear what you have to say.
Oh, okay. So it's about social media. So it's about the social media and how to help our kids, to have an alternative, So the thing is, children actually want something else to work with, but we need to create that something else for them, because I understand, okay, from experience, I found out that watching too much TV, you don't get to retain a lot because so many things are flipping through and all of that, But with reading, you get to sustain, you get to create. I attended a seminar one time in Abuja, and the guy said something about an MRC part of our brain. It's called the Motor Rehearsal Center. He said that part of the brain helps you to create. But you cannot create when you're watching too much of TV. I remember when I was growing up, I used to have an uncle of mine that, I did my youth service with in his house. I felt that man was evil because the TV station would just be NTA and the radio was 92.9 Capital FM. You dare not touch it. You don't even try. Do you understand? But over the years, I found out that one thing in that house, there was so much of creativity because you're left reading or listening to Capital FM or watching NTA where they have some, at least, some good content and all of that. Not now that you have so many options.
Absolutely.
So for me, I know tablets, to have good tablets that could allow them watch. But watch does not allow them retain anything. It's still better they go back to the books. It helps them to relax. They don't get so anxious and all of that. You understand the discipline of staying on a thing and finishing it. Unlike the tablet, I have to keep flipping through and all of that. So by God's grace, we just continue with this conversation. We'll make a headway.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you, Wish you. I'm still loving you from local down. I love you.
Thank you. We love you too. Thank you so much. So you see, this conversation is weakening me. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is from Benson. He says, "Greetings, ladies. Incidentally, most content creators on social media put some real work to make it attractive enough, and in a lot of ways stretches imagination. On the contrary, millions of consumers just consume and relax. IQ stretch, almost a torture to most." So that for social media, it stretches their imagination, whatever. But IQ stretch is like a torture, right? And it's not creative. That's Benson's opinion.
Okay, let me take our final call. Peter from Benin, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Thank you for calling.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Good topic. We all are at fault, and all hands must be on deck to change the narrative that we have about this social media. It has done more harm than good. Of recent, China reduced the number of gaming time children can go on the internet to 3 hours a week. That's a government that is already thinking about the future.
Absolutely.
Recently, a friend of mine told me that she applied for an NGO in Abuja and they were now talking about library. So she drove around Abuja, she tried to see where she could get any library. Now our libraries. I want to believe the only libraries we have now is in the university. It is high time we begin to monitor what our children do on social media. It's a time bomb. Because if we don't nip it in the bud now, I see something very dangerous in the future. Because anything you want now, Google it. People don't even tax their brain to do research.
Exactly.
And as parents, mentally, and because of the psychological warfare these children have over us, we give in to their persuasion. We must stand our ground. We must have a timetable on how we monitor our children, what they do on social media. Now, most of them cannot even think outside the box. I just feel all hands must be on deck to change this trend.
Absolutely.
Yesterday, it was as if the whole world, in Nigeria in particular, has gone under the water because social media was up for 7 hours.
Thank you, Peter. So I even think...
Thank you for going. Like I know, you don't look happy this evening. All is well.
Amen. It is well. I think, Peter, what you said about the libraries, even when you go to the libraries that you find in the university, there are no books there.
They are not relevant.
They are not even books there.
They're obsolete.
Obsolete books there. So it's not even so much of... I remember there was a guy that reached out to me. He lived in the US for years, so he had access to thousands of books, about 10,000 books. We couldn't get any government... all we were asking for is give us a space where we can equip these libraries,
with
right?
these books.
We couldn't get the spaces to do it. So the books were just there. He couldn't even bring the book. My sister is a teacher in, she's a teacher in France. I can tell you for free that every year, what is every year? Maybe every 6 months or something, there's a new textbook coming out. They're churning out books.
Information.
Books, reviewing,
updating and
the
upgrading.
Books. You understand? In Nigeria, how much attention are we paying to our books, our educational sector, And you now add that. You have not paid so much attention on it. You're not adding social media to it. So it's actually a very sad...
It's a very sad situation.
All
right, Isi, take your comment, please.
I don't want to talk about that education part, but this comment, I don't know who is coming from. There's no name here, and it says the media, I think he says social media, has not only lowered the current generation's IQ, but has destroyed the reading culture of this age. People are no longer reading again and are in a hurry going nowhere.
All right, so good evening, ladies. Shout out to Akanima Ojo on the occasion of her birthday, wishing her many returns. That's Adi from the UK. Thank you. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
All right, so ladies, we've run out of time. This conversation, we can't finish it.
No.
I wasn't planning to finish it. We're planning to remain, but we had a fantastic conversation. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Milola, Nomar, and Isi. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. And importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. So do well to follow us now. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. If you are on social media and you're not learning, not laughing, not being inspired, or not networking, then you're using it wrongly. So I think we've all said it right here that, yes, there are pros and cons, but if you look at it, you have to also strike a balance. I think that's what I got from the conversation today. If we strike a balance, and parents, please be deliberate. Be very deliberate with your children. Get them books, hard copy books. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.